Here we have two lights from Godox. It is from their Litemons series. We've got the LP1200 and LP800. These are 120 and 85 watt bicolor panel lights. They are more modern than the light we currently use to light up our studio, and I want to check how these more modern lights compare to our old professional equipment and see if we can save some space and make our life a little bit easier. As a comparison, right now we actually have a Godox SL150 Mark II with a 120mm softbox. It's huge, in some ways bigger than me. It has one major problem. Every time we shoot a wider shot like this, it makes it really inconvenient to shoot. And then it's also really angled to a sitting position, so having to adjust it is just a nightmare. That's why something like this, where you can kind of flip it out, put it in the right place, might be a better solution. We're not really utilizing that light to its full potential, so I'm kind of curious, where do these sit? I'm going to go through them one at a time, and then we basically kind of address and test them out. I'll start with the smaller box, which is actually ironically the higher end unit, and we'll cover the LP800 in a bit. One thing I'm already aware about this light is the fact that it comes with a carrying case, and it's a very nice carrying case. So we've got the light itself, and it has nice barn doors, so that's the panel for it. You have a bit of adjustability, forwards and backwards. If you mounted it, you can actually mount it, upside down, hang it down if you wanted to. You've got a normal mounting position right here. We've got ourselves a manual, so a power cable, just a shotgun style power connector, and that's the power brick itself. So you've got the shotgun connector to this, and then you can put this away from the light. So that's going to generate a little bit of heat as well, so you want to kind of keep it away. And what's nice about it is, once you go out to site, you can just throw all your cables in one place. So you can kind of do this. You still have a bit of space inside. You throw your light in, and your pack and unpack does not take that long. That's very convenient. Now, for the other light. This light comes with a much bigger box, even though it is, technically speaking, a lower end light, and there's a reason for that. These lights, while they have similar name, they have slightly different target market. So this light here is much bigger physically than the LP1200. So that's the light panel. As you can see, it has a built-in cable. Then in the box here, we also have some legs. So this light comes with a stand. In the case here, you have yourself a little stand, and then we have the light. So you have yourself a stand, and you can literally set it up that quickly, and you can have it adjusted. So now you have ability to twist it around if you want to. So you can move the stand, or you can just twist it down and just adjust it to the side. And you also have yourself a handle, which is both to tighten, but also you have a little adjustability here, so you can actually tighten it and loosen it up straight from here without needing to go around. So in this case, I want to tighten it down a bit and point it this way. It does have a built-in cable, which is a little bit unfortunate in some degree, because now if any of these connectors break, or if this cable breaks, you have to go and do a warranty return rather than having to just swap out a cable. So that's something that you need to be bearing in mind. But the light panel itself, as you can see, it is a panel, and it's already diffused, and it's huge. Let me just plug this in. I want to see how much light we're getting out of it. Now that we have it plugged in, on the back we have a power switch, and we have some controls. So over here we have our brightness control, as well as our temperature control. The way to use the controls is use the set, plus and minus. And the way to see which setting you got selected is when you set, you can see it's highlighted around. And you can actually go down all the way down to 1%, or 0 if you want to turn it off, which is obviously, it's just completely off. 1 and all the way to 100%. You can do 1% at a time if you want to click it, or just hold it down and it just rolls up. And it gets reasonably bright. In fact, it gets very bright. Then for the color temperature, you click into it. You can go down all the way to 2800, which is very warm, as you can see. And then you can go all the way up to 6500, which is actually quite cold. That's so bright now. I think you can just literally reset and go through some of the settings here. So you got the some extra features, like candlelight, for example. You can change the speed. So there's quite a few features you have in here. You got a TV and so on. So there's a bunch here, like fire. So generally having effects pretty cool. And what you also see here is Bluetooth control, and that's the same for both. Both these lights have Bluetooth controls, and we'll get into that in the main review. Let me just turn this off and throw the other light on just to compare. This light should be around 50% brighter, but also because it's smaller, the amount of light that it has should be a lot more dense as well. Obviously, this light does not come with its own little stand, so you're gonna have to provide that separately. So that's something you need to account for. One big difference about this light in comparison to the other one is it also has this V-mount support, so you can actually power this via a battery rather than having to wire it up, or you can do both. So that's very convenient, especially if you need it a bit more flexible. You have a battery setup, as well as you can select the DC plug from here. So you have double switch. Obviously there's no battery enabled right now, so you can't enable it. Without battery, obviously it doesn't work. So here we select English, and again, similar menu, but now we have a scroll wheel. So it's selected. It's quite tactile, so you can roll around, but what happens is you can actually go much faster to wherever you need to go. And there's no clicking to it, just the set button. So let's bring it all the way down. So again, it goes to 0, and go all the way up to 100. Yeah, the light seems a lot more concentrated. Then we can go to the temperature, bring it down to 2,800, or all the way up to 65,000. So it's about the same. And inside here, we also have menu. We have the CC control, or we can go into some sort of effects. So there's a bunch of them here, all the same ones. Then you can come out of that and go back to your normal lighting. Also, you have your menu, and the first thing that comes up is Bluetooth. You go to the display, and also you also have yourself upgrades and whatnot. We're going to set them up using the app and actually compare them to our main light. The main thing that we want to address here is flexibility. Right now, this light is huge and it's always in the way. What I want to do is have ability to go back like this and not have the light in the shot. So therefore, if we're working on a big case or a big system or whatever else, that it's flexible and we can just work around it, rather than the lights being constantly ruining the shots. And we'll set up and see how they compare.
Alright, rather than just looking at the specs, I tested these lights in the ways that actually matter in this studio. For the first test, I used a typical A-roll setup and compared 4 lighting options. My current SL150W Mark II with the big softbox, the LP800Bi, the LP1200Bi bare, and the LP1200Bi with a softbox and a grid. And honestly, no surprises here. The SL150W with the 120cm softbox still gets the nicest and the most flattering light overall. It is still the softest, it wraps better, and it gives the most polished result. The LP1200Bi with the softbox and a grid is probably the closest practical replacement, if you want to keep that softer look but move something more compact and easier to control. So much so that my shot right now is lit up with it. The LP1200Bi bare is also a really interesting middle ground. It gives you a much smaller setup with more punch and direction. So if you don't want to bother with the modifiers, it is still very usable. It's not as soft, but it gives that shot more shape. And then the LP800Bi. While definitely usable, it has the most obvious small panel light look out of the group. It lights the scene more broadly, but it also tends to flatten things out a bit more. It's not always a bad thing, especially if you want simple, even lighting rather than the dramatic or shaped look. But the LP800Bi should be judged on its intended purposes, rather than being a scaled down version of LP1200Bi or a direct replacement for a more serious key light. It is aimed at creators who need a simple, quiet, ready to use light for home studios, streaming and smaller content setups. It's quick to deploy, already diffused, silent since there are no actual cooling fans, physically slim and easy to reposition. I don't consider it as a hero light in this particular setup. I think it makes more sense to look at it as a light that improves the rest of the setup. That can mean quite a few different things. It can fill in the shadows for a talking head shots, add soft background light to the wall or shelving unit, work as a side light for a desk setup, provide extra illumination on a product table, or sit above a scene for a cleaner top-down shot. Or it can just be a simple streaming, zoom, or webcam light where you want something soft, quiet, and easy to use. It works best for smaller rooms, tighter setups, and quicker shots where you don't want the lighting to become a project of its own. Both lights also support app control, and it becomes very useful once the lights are actually in position. If the light is behind the camera, mounted high up, or just slightly out of reach, you don't need to keep walking over to adjust brightness or color temperature. You can fine-tune the output right from where you're standing, which makes it much easier to match the shot, especially when you're testing different setups or making quick changes while filming. I would not buy either light just because of the app, but in real use, it definitely is a convenient feature to have. Another thing to point out is that the LP800Bi is a much more ready-to-go package. With a lot of other lights, you're starting off with just the light itself. From there, you still need to go and get mounting hardware, maybe a stand, or in our case, beams to support it all, and maybe a softbox, and possibly other accessories before you actually get ready to shoot. With this light, you get much closer to the complete starting point straight out of the box, which I really appreciate. You have the light, the stand, the panel is already diffused, so you can get up and running very quickly. The LP1200Bi is a more capable light. It gives you more output, more control, and more room to shape the image, especially once you start using the modifiers like a softbox and a grid. So, to conclude, if you want the closest practical replacement for more traditional studio key lights, the LP1200Bi is probably the panel I'll go for. If you want something simple, quiet, soft, and ready to use for smaller spaces, streaming desk setups, fill light, or general creator work, the LP800Bi makes a lot of sense. And if you use them together, that is probably where it becomes most useful. The LP1200Bi as the main light, and the LP800Bi as a light that helps finish the setup. If you think any of these lights might be what you need, check out the link below for more details. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.